Hello, hello, and welcome back to the show. Today I'm going to be doing a spoilery recap of this book, so I hope you enjoy this. It is going to be full of spoilers, so if you don't know anything about this book, you haven't read it yet, simply go down to the description down below, click on the link. That will take you to a page where you can read the blurb to find out non-spoilery things about this book. But otherwise, I'm going to get right into the spoilers. Planet Barbarians, Book 1. I gave this one 5 stars. This one is about a group of girls who get kidnapped from Earth by some aliens. They're going to be sold off basically as cattle, but to be sex slaves to these other aliens. But instead, they get dropped off on an ice planet. And then Georgie is like freezing. She's trying to find help on this planet, winds up resonating to this blue alien. But then has to find a way to communicate with him that she needs help to go save the other girls who are still in the spaceship. And they also all need to take on a Kui, which is this symbiote that will allow them to be able to live on the planet because the planet's air is toxic. And without this Cootie, or Kui rather, they won't be able to survive more than a couple of days. They'll start to weaken. And so they're able to communicate well enough for them to be able to then go rescue the girls. Not all of them want to get the cootie, they would rather die. Um, but they all wind up getting the cootie anyway. And so Georgie is kind of with the leader, which is Vectel. Um, and so that's kind of how book one ends. Book two is Barbarian Alien, which I believe I gave 4 stars. So this one follows Liz and Rahash, and now they're all on the alien planet. They've all got their Kuis, but Liz did not want a Kui. She was freaked out by it, but Rahash resonated to her, and so he forces the Kui on her. Then he decides to kidnap her and take her to this like hunter's cave hideout, so that she will fall in love with him, which is the same thing that his father did with his mother and actually wound up getting exiled from the tribe for doing so. So he is in some hot water from doing this. It does have a bit of Stockholm Syndrome in his book, which is why I wound up giving it 4 stars because I was just not comfortable with that element. It wasn't so much so that it had happened that he kidnapped her, because let me tell you, that happens in the rest of the series several times. Um, but it was more so that once she fell for him, she completely excused his actions and didn't think that he should be punished for them. And I'm like, no, hun, just because you're okay with it now doesn't mean that he shouldn't be punished. And not only that, but because it was so long that she was in captivity and um like he had already been warned to not take her, and also, he should have learned from his dad's mistakes to not do that. um I just couldn't fully know if Liz was actually okay with everything, or if she was literally having Stockholm syndrome. um so yeah, I gave that one 4 stars. And so he winds up getting in trouble and he has to like go be a hunter for a couple of years away from everybody else, and Liz decides to go with him because Liz is one of those like go-getter women. That's the other thing I didn't like about the book, is that she was such a strong character in the beginning, but then she falls in love and she kind of becomes um she just excuses everything, and I'm like, that's not strong character to me. So it took away a bit of my like for Liz. This one is a sci-fi that I gave 5 stars. Kira says she wants to go to the ancestors' cave to get her translator removed, but it's because she knows the slave traders are coming back and doesn't want them to track her back to the cave. A haiku goes with her, and then the aliens return. She lets them capture her and then infects the ship by an ancient thing that's like in the ice, that's very toxic. killing all of the aliens because they don't have a kui to keep the toxins from killing them. She escapes and the ship crashes. Ahako is injured and Harlow is missing. Ahako knows Kira is the woman for him, and finally they resonate. She thought they would never happen for her because she had an injury as a child that made her infertile. But he reassured her that he'd want her even if they could never have kids. But the Kui repaired the damage, so now she can reproduce. This one is a sci-fi that I gave 5 stars. Rook takes Harlow because he resonated to her, and here's the bad ones nearby. He has been gone for a long time because his dad took him and his mom away from the tribe. He is Rahash's brother he thought was dead. He takes Harlow to the beach. He doesn't know the tribe language or English, so they have to learn how to understand each other. I loved that aspect of the book. It was like a return to the first book in the series. They fall in love and she gets pregnant. She doesn't try to return to the tribe because she likes the peace on the beach and thinks that Kira and Ahako were killed by the returning aliens, and she will be blamed. She also knows Rook was taught to fear the tribe by his exiled father. His father died of the sickness, and his mother died before that, but they are found on the beach. She has been having headaches and believes her brain tumor may be back and wants to get checked by the healer. So they go and he gets the language beam so that he can communicate with her. He thinks he will leave her with the tribe, but then he learns to trust them and stays with her. Harlow also believes he can use some of the equipment, she can use some of the equipment from the old ship to expand the cave networks so they can have more space and couples won't have to share rooms. Everyone is glad she is back and likes learning about the beach. This one is a sci-fi that I gave 5 stars. Tiffany is adored by all the unmated males. As one of the only unresonated females, Josie comes up with a competition for the guys to do to be able to make a trip with her and Josie to the Ancestors' Cave to see if Josie can get her birth control out. So Luke wasn't competing for her. He thinks she's his mate, but doesn't want to pressure her. She asks him to hook up with her so she can get comfortable with a man she trusts, since she was sexually assaulted on the ship and didn't have great partners before that. It takes them a few tries, sneaking off on hunting trips, to get more intimate. He is very patient with her. When they get caught hooking up, the competing men feel betrayed, so he has to join the competition. The men sabotage him and he loses, but he follows her to the cave anyway, and they find out there's going to be a bad storm. Tiffany hurt her leg, so the winner warns the faraway caves, and Josie warns the regular cave. Tiffany falls in love with Saluk and they resonate. He is the best male suitor. This one is a sci-fi that I gave 5 stars. Josie is the last to not be mated, and she wants a mate more than anyone, so she's really excited when her IUD comes out. What she's not excited about is resonating with Hayden. She thinks he's sexist and doesn't like her. He wants to convince her to be with him because resonance can't be denied. She was sexually assaulted on the ship and isn't going to give in unless they actually like each other. He wants to give her space, but he gave too much to his last mate, who was with another guy and eventually died of the Kui sickness. He didn't think he'd get another mate, but his Kui is new. Josie decides to try to find the beach where Harlow was to prevent resonance. He follows her to make sure she is safe. They wind up finding the crashed ship instead and find 2 sisters on board. They fall for each other and resonate during their journey. This one is a sci-fi that I gave 5 stars. Lila and her sister are rescued from the ship. Hasten steals her away, hoping they will resonate. She is deaf because the aliens removed her cochlear implant. Hasten doesn't know ASL. Rokon finds her. She doesn't want to be a burden to the tribe, so she has him take her to the Elder's Cave to see if the machine can restore her hearing. When it can't, she uses a dictionary to teach it ASL. It then beams the language to Rokon. The tribe's really excited to meet her, and they have learned some ASL from her sister Maddie. It seems the Kui restores some loud sounds, but it's clear her disability is not an issue. When she runs away from Hasten, Metlax find her. She is brought into a new cave with vegetation and fruit. She notices the Metlax are an intelligent species. They have their own hand signals. One of them likes her and tries to feed her, but she doesn't want to accept it in case he thinks that makes them mates. Later in the series, one of the girls keeps one as a pet. This one is a sci-fi that I gave 5 stars. Hasten is put on extra hunting duty as punishment for taking Lila. Maddie feels useless. She was mean to some people when they didn't go straight to find her sister, and now her sister has a mate, and people are happy to learn ASL, so Maddie doesn't have to translate for her anymore. He tells her he can teach her to hunt. They start hooking up too. She worries her sister won't like the relationship, and Hasten is supposed to be being punished, so they have to sneak off to the hunter's caves to get it on. Then there is a cave-in, and he saves Maddie and another girl and a girl's mate, and this one has Fat Rep in it. This one is a sci-fi that I gave 5 stars. Pashov almost died in the cave-in, and now he doesn't remember his mate, Stacy, or his son, Pacey. Stacy doesn't want to scare him, so she gives him distance. There are chapters of them meeting and falling for each other as well. They move the tribe to the South Caves where the ship had crashed into an old city. They just have to put roofs on the buildings, and there is so much more room for everyone. This one is a sci-fi that I gave 5 stars. Poor Asha just feels alone and rejected because her mate Himalo left her after they had a miscarriage. She just needed time to heal, but pushed him away. He needed to grieve too. Claire wants to have a celebration to lighten everyone's spirit. And so she befriends Asha. Then Asha and Himalo resonate again, and she is terrified to lose another kit, but they reunite anyway and get their happy ever after. This one is a sci-fi that I rated 5 stars. A new ship lands and she resonates with Marduk, who works on the ship and is a cyborg. His people weren't expecting to find others on the planet, and they need to fix their ship. They interrogate Farley, and she tells them about her people. They learn they've been on the planet for like 1,000 years, and she takes them to meet her people. They offer to remove their Kuis and bring them to a more habitable planet, but they can't get them back to Earth. And even if they could, the women know their mates and children wouldn't be accepted, so they all choose to stay. Marduk has PTSD from once being abandoned on a planet, and he knows his ship will never come back for him if he stays, because they aren't supposed to be there. He convinces Farley to come with him, but can't let her go through with it when he sees how much she'd miss her family, so he stays with her instead. This one is a sci-fi that I gave 5 stars. Beck tells the ship captain he can take all the money he found if he'll bring back 5 humans so all the males can have a mate. He doesn't understand how slavery works, so the humans are pissed, but also glad because they are treated well by the others. Ellie is a bit of a quiet outcast. She doesn't bathe so that men won't sexually assault her. Of course, she's the one he resonates to, and she wants nothing to do with him. Vectel and Georgie choose to shun him since none of their other punishments have worked. Beck realizes that she won't eat food until someone else tests it, because she once had a slaver who would poison her food to watch her puke. She was also a zoo exhibit. He starts bringing food to her and testing it, so she comes to trust him. He also is able to show him she is able to show him how it feels to be a slave, and he finally understands what he did. There is a kit who looks up to him and wants to hunt with him. When he disappears and there is a storm coming, she is able to find him. Then she goes to the cave with Beck and gets snowed in so they can have time alone to fulfill resonance, and he is pardoned by Vectel. This is a sci-fi that I gave 5 stars. Herrick has wanted Kate since she landed, but she thinks he's just a flirt and is actually making fun of her because she's like 6 foot tall. When they travel with others to visit the old ship, he breaks away with her in an attempt to woo her. She won't let him carry her like the rest of the girls, which slows down the travel, so he offers her a more dangerous shortcut that would give them some time in a hunter's cave alone before rejoining the others, but he falls through the ice. He hauls she hauls him out and carries him to the cave. He has to heal, so she hunts and makes their food. She learns his feelings for her are real, and they meet up with the others by the ship that delivered Kate. But the ship that delivered Kate is back, and this time they aren't the same crew. This one is a sci-fi that I gave 5 stars. Summer is super talkative. Warwick is a man of few words. Luckily, he doesn't mind all her chatter. When they see that ship returned with a new crew who's capturing their people, they know they have to save them. Warwick makes a pit, and they lure a man away from the ship. Then they mess with the ship so it can't take off again. I love how smart Summer is, and that she will risk her safety to rescue her friends. They destroy the ship so no one will come looking for their planet again. Harlow is upset they couldn't keep some of the advanced tech on board because they wound up sinking it in a later book. They wound up destroying it. This one is a sci-fi that I gave 5 stars. Brooke didn't want people to be separated when the new alien arrivals captured them, so she told them who they were mated with. Then they were paired off, and she got paired with Toshin. They were both drugged to be super horny, so she had a good time with him. But once they got rescued, she wasn't okay with him thinking they were mates. They also discover the other captives on the ship and have to decide if they will wake them. Some aren't even human. They do wake them, and they rename the planet Iceholm. This one is a sci-fi that I gave 5 stars. Ariana has always been seen as a whiner. Really, she just has a lot of anxiety. Her mate, Zolea, is very understanding of her. They already have one child, and now she is pregnant with the next. Their child has the knowing sense and says there is a storm coming. We get flashbacks of her first resonance with Zalea, and now hoping he'll return to safety. This one is a sci-fi that I gave 5 stars. Marlene is so laid back, she just accepts that she was abducted by aliens and is now forced to live on an ice planet. She is also superstitious and sees signs from her mother all around her and knows when it'll be a good day. She is French and very in tune with her sexual desires. She thinks Zinnik is timid because he's a virgin, and she is always trying to seduce him. The jokes about her having a different tongue were funny, and I love that he got beamed French so they could talk as dirty as they want to each other in public. This one is a sci-fi that I gave 5 stars. Megan sleeps with Cashall right away because she thinks it's expected, and wants to contribute to the tribe, so they won't get rid of her. She is always volunteering to do everything to find her place. It really stresses her out. Then some animals get into the food, and she made a joke that she taste tests the food to find the best ones and then throws out the rest. The rumor spreads, and now she feels like no one will ever trust her. Cashall, her mate, stands up for her, and they even work together to recoup more food, and eventually they fall in love. This one is a sci-fi that I gave 5 stars. Nora hasn't been fulfilled in her sex life. She longs for the first time she was with Dagesh. When he wasn't so careful and reserved. She wants a little BDSM in her life, but he isn't willing to hurt her. So she spends her time explaining her needs and making games he's comfortable with to spice things up in their love life, like chasing her before taking her in the snow, so she gets the heat she needs in the bedroom. I also think this is the book, I'm not quite sure, but this is like the last book of the series, so I'm just going to throw this in here. But another cool thing that happened that I didn't mention earlier, because I don't remember which book it was in, was that one of them kind of adopts a Metlock as a pet, and the Metlock are very intelligent, and I'd like to see more interaction with that species, especially since Lila may be able to communicate with them. For both of these, I gave them a 4.5 star, and they're both sci-fis. I didn't get much from the novellas. I do like the whole honeymoon concept and them trying to do human holidays to bring everyone together, but some of the stories felt like repeats of events touched on before, just in a new POV. I liked Ahako making people not tan or cook smelly things near his wife. It was funny. I also liked the beach scenes. All right, that's all I've got for you. Thanks so much for watching. And if you have a book that you would like for me to read and recap, please let me know down below in the comments, and I will see y'all in the next video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share with your friends, and I will see you all later. Thanks for watching. Bye!